Hey, True Believers, Englentine here. I got you on that one, right? With, of course, Back Issue Breen.
Good evening.
Now we are we've been doing this why Marvel comics are dying. This is part 5. Check out the other videos. We talk about a certain topic. This is not just actually why Marvel comics is dying, but why the industry, what we think is wrong with the industry, generally having to do with the books. We could talk about sales and distribution, stuff like that in a little bit. One thing we're talking about, one thing I want to talk about today is there's a Mary Sue in every issue. And this is something I've been finding to be a problem for quite some time now, where we get these characters, and sometimes they're well established, and that's fine. They know their powers. But sometimes they're new. They come out and they know everything. What brought this on is I was reading Aquaman. I'm finally back on Aquaman after Kelly Sue DeConnick took over. I dropped it. Dan Abnett's run was just freaking iconic, in my opinion. And they're talking to the main character, I should say, is Aquaman, or Aqualad, the Young Justice version of him. And now it doesn't bother me that they made him gay. It does bother me that they're writing him like Sanaa Grace, who wrote the worst kind of Iceman character. It was horrible. He was a stereotype. In this one, he meets a guard, right? But it just turns out to be a guard his age who is gay. And as they're going off to battle, this guard says, "Stay as cute as you are." The hell is that? What? That's not a battle cry. The man's going into. It was ridiculousness. But the thing is also, he of course says he's a aquakinesis. He can move water around, kind of like Mirror and everything. Create the water blades. That's kind of cool. So he goes off all hot-headed, and his little Skeet's grandfather Black Manta head that follows him around, it doesn't like this. And when he comes back and he talks to Aqualad, and he's like, you're going off hot-headed. You got to think about things that you're doing, or you're going to end up getting killed. And Aqualad turns around. Okay, I'm paraphrasing, but it's all, I march to my own drummer, and I'm my own man, and I know what's right, blah, blah. And the grandfather is like, oh, no, you're right. No, he wasn't, Breen. Absolutely, the advice that Grandfather Manta Head said was absolutely right. You need to think before you leap. You need to plan out some things. He was absolutely wrong. But I see this so often in modern day comics. Young characters know better, even though they would be less experienced. There seems to be no real conflict. I believe just a couple of years ago, we saw Kitty Pryde, and this is talking about no conflict. Kitty Pryde one-punched a Sentinel. Kitty Pryde one-punched a Sentinel.
Sure, why not?
Right. And that's the kind of silly things we've been getting with these Mary Sues. What do you see any of this? Am I just blowing smoke here?
No. I have kind of a theory on this. I mean, you can take this all the way back to the 60s that started with "Don't trust anybody over 30." Right. The kids had all the answers. Okay, the difference was in those days, the people writing the characters in comics knew how to write, and they gave the characters, trials, tribulations, hardships. They had to go through things to get to where they needed to be as heroes. Now, you fast forward to about, say the last 10 years or so, social media has become the be-all, end-all.
Yeah.
So everybody, has a voice, and the truth becomes their truth. We're on our second or third generation of kids being raised. We're trying to raise children conflict-free. Everything, it's like you put the child in a bubble, and you raise them to where everything is, just sunshine and unicorns growing up. Now, what does that have to do with comic book characters? Okay, growing up that way, when you're told that you are that your opinion is the only one that matters, that you are always right, and your opinion matters more than anybody else's because it's yours, it stands to reason that the people creating the comic book characters for that audience that they're trying to get would make characters that kind of speak to them. Now, all these characters are basically perfect. They have all the answers. They're all narcissists. How many selfie covers have we seen in the last?
Oh my goodness!
And I'm looking at both companies there, so I'm not.
Yeah, but there were. They actually did a 1 month or something like this selfie cover variant thing. I don't know.
And I'll do without the book if that's the only version of that issue I can find.
Yeah,
I'll wait until I find the regular one.
You will judge a book by its cover on that one.
In that case, I will. But so all these characters, I said that because everybody has to see themselves in everything now, and when you see yourself as always right, perfect just because you're you. You don't want anything too complicated in your stories. You don't want bad things to happen to your characters. You just want them to kind of be there and reaffirm you. And
the casualty in all of this is story growth. There is no character growth. There's no start and ending points for these characters. They start off awesome, knowing everything that they need to know, and they end knowing. It's just there's no change in any of these characters. You get them right out the gate. They know everything. They're more powerful than anything. Of course, everybody's talking about Mary Sue in the Star Wars movies, but it happens a lot in the comics. I remember reading a Ms. Marvel comic book where she was mad, so she burst into the mayor's office to demand. I'm like, bull crap, she's in jail now. And that's something also I'm seeing. It's that they are overpowering, not just within we'll talk about overpowering and empowering, but they're also, I don't know, they're subjugating the people they're supposed to be protecting. The cops are there to stop a crime. The superhero shows up, the cops stand down. The humans in these stories, and this will go to a topic that we're really going to expand on, no supporting characters, but the humans that they're supposed to be protecting are now they're being subjugated.
Yeah, you see it all the time, and especially these, what would have been termed SJW comic, characters, mm-hmm. where they do their thing, then they stop to get emotionally validated by the other superheroes around them and by the people they've just saved.
Yeah.
Now, one thing you never saw in comics when we were growing up, as I said, Spider-Man defeats Doc Ock. He wasn't going to pose for pictures. Now, of course, back then they would have been Kodaks, and you'd had to wait for him to be developed. But
yeah, but also back then in Spider-Man comics, he'd been shot at as soon as the cops arrived. So, but
the younger character, and it is mostly the younger characters because that's all that's being created now. When was the last time that Marvel created an adult character? I'm not sure I know, but you look at the crop of younger characters today. Well, heck, even like Amadeus Cho as a human character when he first was introduced, in I think Bruce Jones's version of the Hulk, mm-hmm. and then eventually he became Hercules' sidekick. That was a great character. Depth, personality, conflict. When he becomes, Gogurt Hulk, he's just perfect. They all are. You get you think of younger characters just 30 years ago with the New Warriors, the characters that were created for that book. They all had problems.
One of them was a cripple. One of them was on the braces, the whole 9 yards.
I remember.
It was ridiculous because you would see her use those braces to flip over people. I'm like, I don't think she can, unless they're jet powered or something.
I don't remember, but I'm sure they had something going for them. But
yeah.
And then before that, you go to DC, the Teen Titans, even the Wolfman version, the new characters that were introduced. Look at all that Cyborg Victor Stone had to go through to get to where he was comfortable at being a hero. And now
then they took away the rest of his body and put him in a robot. Yeah.
But now you just come out of the gate perfect.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest problems. Now I'm going to turn this around, not just new characters. I've been noticing an overpowering of characters. We just read a Thor book where he kills Galactus. And spoiler alert, in number 7, and that's just an example. I've been noticing this for a long time. Will you shush? I've been noticing this for a long time. The characters have just become more and more powerful, and it's just there's no limit anymore. One thing I loved about the Marvel Universe, the official handbook of the Marvel Universe, is that it set it up. Okay, this guy can only lift 10 tons. This guy can lift 100 tons. All right, sure, fine. Hulk, Spider-Man. But it set boundaries for the character, and it made it so they would have to write things around it. Okay, if this guy's more powerful than our hero has to outthink him. And it led to better stories. Now it's just like, oh, you have no idea how powerful I am, Galactus. One punch, you're down. Obviously, no, actually, I think
that was Squirrel Girl.
Yeah, right. But that's the whole thing. They are writing these characters more and more powerful rather than come up with good ideas to write around it to make these characters more interesting. Let's see. The one example, of course, one of the more interesting things was Rogue. Rogue was not able to touch people because she would absorb their powers. And now I'm seeing, oh, I can control it. And oh, yeah, I can absorb your powers at a distance because that's an extension of my mutation. Really? Is that what we're doing? Because, I mean, that's an overpower. I remember when Nightcrawler would teleport, and after 2 or 3 times, he's like, I'm just exhausted. Mutant powers exerted energy at that time. Back in our day, they exuded energy. Therefore, they got tired using their powers. Even Jean Grey, even if she used her mental powers too much, she would be tired. None of that's happening today.
Well, there's a couple reasons for that. The people writing the books have most of them have a very limited knowledge of Marvel history. And more importantly, they don't care to do the research. And I've been saying for years that what Marvel should have done was just decided that the Marvel universe that started with Fantastic Four #1 ended basically in 2011, and it began anew with all new, all different. That's it's like a crisis that didn't happen. Because they've ignored everything that came before it for the most part, unless it fits a storyline. But and most of them have, again, such limited knowledge of Marvel history. That's why you see the same characters, Arcade, Taskmaster, Rhino, over and over and over again, because they know those characters either from the X-Men or Spider-Man cartoons from the 90s. Or from, like I said, the back of Chef Boyardee cans and a Pizza Hut giveaway.
Right. By the way, I had that X-Men video from the Pizza Hut giveaway. Didn't we all? Yeah, and that's the biggest problem. It really does seem like a lack of desire to get to know the characters. And that's a sad thing, because ultimately if you're just going to say, "Ooh, you know what? Beast is fighting this guy, but he has no way to attack him at a distance." Oh, I saw this meme where they were laser cats. Beast is kind of like a cat. Let's give him laser eyes. And you know, it's so much easier to do this rather than to think their way out of the box. And it's sad, really, because the stories suffer for them.
And they don't need to worry about what they're doing this month, because it's designed to be forgotten next month. 6 months from now, that'll be 3 events ago. And they just keep you focused on the next, you know, shiny object. And it's not designed to have any lasting consequences.
Unfortunately, you're absolutely right about that. You're absolutely right. Now, one thing we skipped over, and I do want to talk about the worst of the worst, because we were talking, and this could be even considered the OP, because we had a new character right out the gate, put on a suit of armor, call herself Ironheart in a Iron Man book. Of course, I got yelled at for saying, well, she should have her own identity at the time. And this new character went and not only defeated Dr. Doom, but took over Latveria. And the reaction was, "Good going, girl," from S.H.I.E.L.D. All I could think of was, wow, that is a Mary Sue. That is a Mary Sue moment. Possibly the worst. Now, I don't know if she defeated Dr. Doom, because I think Dr. Doom was still in his hero form, you know, in the hero book at the time. But I do know she took over Latveria and got a pat on the back for it, rather than, yeah, you just started a war. That's not good.
No, what are the adults at Marvel and Marvel Comics there for, other than to emotionally validate the new generation of characters that are better in every way?
Yeah, and that's part of the problem. Give them some flaws. Give them some interesting traits. Something other than, "Ooh, I've got a Twitter account, and look, I'm on the cell phone just like you. Aren't I cool?" That seems to be the only character trait that they're being allowed to give, or the only flaw. By the way, I would love to see that somebody's going into the battle. Hold on, villain, and then they get, you know, sucker punched. That'd be awesome. Oh no, I want to videotape this battle first. Okay, so don't kill me, Rhino, because you're the only villain we can use. Yeah, I'm also, by the way, and this has nothing to do with it, I'm tired of seeing the Wrecking Crew be the punch boys for everybody. It seems like, hey, we got a new character. Okay, let them beat up the Wrecking Crew.
Yeah, as I said, it truly, you know, it doesn't matter, you know, and I said there's a reason why I quit, you know, a company that I used to own every superhero comic for 40 plus years.
That's true. That's true. Even and I just did the review for the Marvel versus DC video that's going to come out. I just did the review for Daredevil, and I was like, you know, ultimately I can't give this issue rave. I've raved about Daredevil every freaking issue for the last 3-4 years. Actually 40 years, because I've loved them all, but not this time. Not because Daredevil's overpowered, just because the story. As far as the overpowered characters, the more I read, the more I'm just disappointed.
Oh, I just saw something. Captain Marvel to get power upgrade.
Oh no! Wow, that's a shocking surprise. Anyway, there you go, gang. That's our take on this whole subject. What do you think about OP characters? Are we wrong? Are they are they not just in Marvel? Are we skipping over DC? Is it surprising that it seems like any character for Marvel right now could take out even Superman? It seems that way. Hey, Ms. Marvel, patoosh, okay, Superman, you're done. With a big rubber fist.
He just call in Naomi.
Oh, there you go, right? They've got a shield. All righty, but let us know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to click like and share. Definitely share. Get the word out about this channel. I'm trying to hit 1,000 views by January 1st. 1,000 subs, I mean. Certainly like to thank everybody who's done that. To everyone, all the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.
Good night, kids.
All righty. Hey, True Believers, England Teen here with, of course, Eric Back Issue Breen.
Howdy.
All righty, we are on. This is like part 5. Part 5. You know what? Screw it. Let's get the Let's get this going. Okay, I'm on the wrong thing. Let's try this again. All right. Brand. Boom. Boom. And where are we? Here we are. Okay. Whoop, that's I Love Comics. I realized I do I Love Comics background for this channel too, Old Man Comics. So there we go. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, so anyway,